Greetings, mighty companions. So happy to have you join this healing circle today. And we are doing A Course in Miracles, the Complete and Annotated Edition. So this is the Course in Miracles version, the latest to come out, and it is the most original edition. It is the edition of A Course in Miracles that contains the 45,000 words that were edited out of the first two editions of A Course in Miracles for whatever reason. And this edition has it all back in there, all the original dictation that came through the scribe, Helen Schuckman. There's so much amazing, beautiful, powerful material that is in this edition that's not in the first two, that I decided I wanted to teach it so that I could learn it myself. And yes, that is what I am doing in this class, like I do in all of my classes. I am teaching it so that I can learn it. That's what A Course in Miracles says. If you want to be healed, you got to learn how to heal. If you want to learn this new way of thinking, you got to teach it. You're going to have to share it, and that's why I do it. So I love seeing that Carrie is here, and hello, Les, and thank you, Les, for your reminder. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I so appreciate your participation and your appreciation. And hi, Stephanie, also. So happy to see you guys. I am so happy to see you guys. I just appreciate you guys so much. Your presence here gives me so much energy, and it feels so good to join with you in this way. I love it that we're connected beyond the body so that we can experience each other and enjoy each other and co-create together even if our bodies are not together. And I love that. Love that. And thank you. Les says Anna teaches so she can learn. And hi, Maya. Wonderful to see you too. Alrighty. So this section is juicy, jam-packed with some deep, powerful stuff for healing. The name of the section that we are in is called This Need Not Be. We are still in it. It's a really long section. It's just packed with powerful self-healing, DIY healing. This section teaches you how to, it's like an emotional healing section. Hello Jonas, hello to Sin Bridget. Now, so we are chapter 4, section 6, This Need Not Be, and we're starting this section on paragraph, we're going to start with paragraph 11, but I'll kind of just do a little recap around paragraph 10. So remember, this section I call the DIY, do-it-yourself, emotional healing, or any kind of healing section. So it's talking in the earlier paragraphs of this section. It talks about what is the healing for depression, what is the healing for guilt, what is the healing for anxiety, what is the healing for despair and fear, all those emotional upsets that we experience in life. And so it's talking about, it tells you the truth about those emotional dis-eases, and then it tells you the truth. So it tells you the truth about what's going on, and then it tells you what to remember. Like, anxiety is just your fear of the unpredictability of your ego. And then it says, and no, this need not be. You don't need to be afraid of the unpredictability of the ego. Why? Because you can be as vigilant for truth as you can be for the anxiety and the fear. So that's just one example. And so it gave that for several of the emotional dis-eases in the previous paragraphs. And then it's talking about that basically the overview of all that is that the way that we heal ourselves emotionally and bring ourselves back to sanity and bring ourselves back to peace when we've gotten off kilter and experiencing depression, despair, guilt, fear, anxiety, all those things, is it's a new habit of engaging with God. So all of those things we mentioned, the depression, the despair, the anxiety, the fear, the being disheartened, that comes because you are not engaging with God. You don't have a habit of engaging with God in your mind, truth. We are in the habit of engaging with our fearful mind called the ego. We have a long-standing habit of when the ego says, be afraid, we say, okay. When the ego says, feel guilty, we go, oh yes, of course, I'm guilty. When the ego says, you should be depressed and you should feel anxious and you should experience despair, we say, yes. In other words, we've been engaging habitually with the ego, being the ego's emotional slave for way too long. And the way to take back control over our own minds, our own consciousness, is to learn how to disengage from your ego. That is what we are learning in this section, how to take back control over your own mind. The Course in Miracles says the second coming of Christ is the end of the ego's rule over a part of your mind. And that's why we've been so insane and in so much pain for so long, is that the ego has been ruling over a part of our minds. And so now we feel powerless and hopeless and helpless when it comes to those emotions. And so the healing of that is the creating of a new habit, creating of a new mental habit, creating new mental habit. What kind of new mental habit? Creating a new mental habit of engaging with God and God's truth, and God's creations. What was the problem? The problem was I was engaging with the ego thought system and allowing my ego to rule my mind, and allowing the ego to use me for its purposes, which is just to produce more fear and conflict in the world. And then the answer is creating a new mental habit where I've disengaged from my ego. Thank God I even learned that I can do that. And then engaging with God and God's creations, God's truth, that which is loving, that which is inspiring, that which is healing. Okay, so that is what we are learning how to do, creating a new mental habit where we disengage from the ego and we engage with God and God's loving, powerful, healing truth. Now, and it says that the way that you make this new mental habit is you refuse to let your mind slip away. Wow, you mean I can do that? I can refuse to let my mind slip away out of the engaging with God and love and start engaging with the ego. I can refuse to let my mind slip away. Yes, that is what it's talking about when it says creating a new mental habit of engaging with God. It's you learning that you can refuse to let your mind slip away into darkness, slip away into fear and guilt and despair and depression and anxiety and all those things that the ego wants to draw you into. All right. And it says, oh, awesome. Hello, Renu, yes, and hello, Demi and Maria. So, but if you haven't heard, we are chapter 4, section 6, this need not be, and we are recapping through paragraph 10, and then we're going to go on to paragraph 11. Yes, beautiful. Les says healing, being afraid, depression, fear, unproductive habits. Yes, powerlessness, really needing a new normal. Yes. Okay, so we in this section are creating a new mental habit that enables us to disengage from our ego's thinking and our ego's rule, our ego's control over our own minds. So we're learning how to disengage from our ego and to engage with God and God's truth and God's power. And we're saying that, and then our teacher here is saying you can learn how to actively refuse to let your mind slip away. You can do that. And the way you do that is you side with your higher mind consistently. which means you choose not to let this shabby perception of guilt and fear pull you back. What do we do? He says you can learn how to not let those shabby perceptions of fear and guilt and anxiety and depression pull you back. Wow, good to know that I have that power, that I can develop that habit. And so I am telling you that you can develop the habit of engaging with God and God's truth. You can learn how to not let your ego's shabby beliefs pull you back to the fearful past. And that's what we're learning how to do. And our teacher is saying here, listen, I need you, I want to help you to learn how to gain control back over your own mind so that you don't let your ego pull you back to the ego past. And our teacher is saying that, I want to help you learn this because the disheartened, the depressed, those who are despairing and are anxious, they are useless to themselves and to me. So our teacher is like, look, I need your help. I need you to be mentally and spiritually strong. I need you to learn how to gain back control over your own mind, which is the same as saying our teacher is saying, I need you to learn how to disengage from your ego and engage with God. Why? Because our teacher is saying, while you're disheartened, while you're depressed and anxious and afraid, then you are useless to yourself. You're of no good to yourself or to our teacher. And remember, only your ego can be disheartened. And I looked up that word, disheartened. And the word disheartened meant to lose confidence. To lose confidence, what was the other thing? To lose confidence, oh yes, or to, okay, it'll come back to me. But to lose confidence. So in this paragraph, it's talking about, okay, those who have lost confidence. Oh, and also they have lost determination. So it's addressing those of us who might be experiencing a loss of confidence and a loss of determination, feeling like the ego's too powerful. My ego's too powerful. I can't break the ego's spell. And so it's speaking to us and it's reminding us, don't side with that shabby belief. Don't let your ego pull you back with that shabby belief. Why? Because you're going to be useless to yourself and to the teacher of healing, the world teacher. You won't be able to help yourself or anyone else or the teacher in the healing plan of mankind. All right. So that's why our teacher says, I am very concerned about your mind. I need you. Our teacher says, I need you. Our teacher says, it needs us. It needs us. All right. So now we're going to go on to paragraph 11. Okay. Whoopee, I can actually engage with truth. Yes, you can, Les. And Jennifer, hello to you. And hi, King Lexi. And Goldie, hi. All right. Okay, remember we're chapter 4, section 6, and now we're on paragraph 11. And this is the section called This Need Not Be. Okay. We're talking about how to gain control back over your own consciousness where your ego used to rule your mind. Okay, remember those days? Maybe it was today when it seemed like the ego ruled your mind with depression and anxiety and fear. And the Course in Miracles says that you can disengage with the ego and take back control of your mind and engage it with God. And by doing that, now you are able to do some good for yourself and good for others and help the teacher of healing for the planet. Okay. Nothing more practical than that. So now we're in paragraph 11. Have you really considered how many opportunities you have had to gladden yourself, and how many of those opportunities you have refused? No, I really hadn't thought about that, Course in Miracles. Thank you for that. He's asking us to think of how many opportunities we have had to gladden ourselves, to make ourselves happy, to heal ourselves, to have or experience correct perception, which makes you happy. He's saying you have had so many opportunities to use whatever you were experiencing to allow your false beliefs to be corrected, and you refused. So he's like, you have no idea how many opportunities you've had to let your perceptions be corrected, that you refused. Okay, great. And then it says, and the truth is, though, there is no limit to the power of a child of God. You may have refused all those many opportunities to allow your perception to be corrected and to be made glad, but there's still no limit on your power. Okay? Your power what? To allow correct perception, to allow learning, to allow healing. Okay? So no matter how many times you have refused those opportunities to allow your perception to be corrected, there's still no limit on your ability, on your power. What is your power? Your ability to allow your perception to be corrected. So that's important. What is your power, your real power in any situation? Like if you're feeling powerless, if you're feeling helpless, then your real power is your ability, your willingness, your ability to receive correct perception for yourself, no matter what's going on, no matter what you're going through. That is your power, and there's no limit on that power. Okay, it doesn't matter how crazy you've been, it doesn't matter what you did, it doesn't matter what they did, it doesn't matter what's going on, no matter how crazy it seems, no matter how frightening, no matter how painful it seems, there is no limit on your power to choose, to allow your perception to be corrected in that moment by your higher mind, your teacher within. And so that's what it means to say there's no limit on your power. So now you can choose. It says you yourself can limit the expression of your power as much as you want to. You can not be aware of it. You can not use your power to choose. You can do that as much as you want. Okay. Why? Because free will, and so you can choose to limit your power as much as you want, but it still remains, there's no limit on your power to choose, to ask for and allow the correction of whatever misinterpretations you got going on. And again, how do you know you've got a misinterpretation going on? Well, how do you feel? If you do not like how you feel, of course, A Miracle says that means you are not perceiving correctly, which means you are not interpreting the situation or yourself correctly. He says truth is awesome. Truth is glorious and powerful and abundant and free and eternal. So if ever you're not experiencing any of that, that means you're not perceiving reality. You're making something up. You're making something up. You've been listening to your ego and seeing what the ego was counseling you and showing you, and now you're afraid. Now you're angry. Now you're upset. Because, of course, A Miracle says that if you were seeing reality, you would be blissed out. Okay? Because reality is everything good. Okay? All right. Beautiful. Renu says, Anna, I was brutally treated by my drunken hubby, crying. Thank you for sharing that, Renew. So Renew, no matter what seems to be going on right now, there is no limit on your power to choose to ask higher mind, to ask your teacher within for the correction of whatever perception that you are having that is making you unhappy right now. There is a way that Spirit can reinterpret whatever is making you sad, whatever thoughts, whatever beliefs, whatever limits you believe you have. There is a vision of your truth. There is a correct perception about you and the situation and your husband that can bring you peace, can bring you a sense of release, and can guide you. That can guide you to the answer, to the path of peace and happiness for you. And there's no limit on your ability to accept that. No matter what seems to be going on, no matter how many times we've made this mistake, no matter what, okay? No matter what they're doing, there is no limit on our power to choose to ask higher mind for the correct perception. So we would say something like this: higher mind, I ask for your correction of my perception right now. I know I'm not interpreting this correctly because I hurt and I'm scared and I'm depressed and I feel guilty. Please correct my perception. Please tell me the truth about myself. Please tell me the truth about what's going on. And thank you. So thank you, Renew, for asking an honest question and telling us what's going on. Hi, Michael and Ken and Kylie. Awesome to see you guys. Lovely. So happy to be sharing this healing circle with you. All right. So now, it says, right, there's no limit to the power of you. But you can yourself limit the expression of your power of choice as much as you want. Then it says something really, really powerful, okay? And really, really powerful that we can do right now. I love those things. I love it when the Course in Miracles tells me something, or at least when I hear something I can do right now, okay? And that's how I study the Course in Miracles. I read it, and I always am reading it with the idea of like, how can I use this right now for what I'm experiencing right now? Because a lot of times when I'm reading it, I am not having correct perception. I'm upset about something. And so what I do is I listen for instructions or things I can do, and then I read it, and then I close my eyes and I do it. And I do it and do it and do it and do it until I feel some kind of release, and then I go on to the next sentence. So let's do that for this one. Then it says this. It says, your mind, this is our teacher speaking to us, by the way. This is our teacher, our higher mind teacher, whose wisdom and truth is infinite, and its love for us is also without limit, okay? So this is a teacher we want to listen to. So our teacher says to us, your mind and mine, says our teacher, can unite in shining your ego away. What? Really? Okay, there's something I can do right now that would enable my ego to be shown away? Well, okay, if you say so. All right. It says, and not only that, it says, our teacher speaking to us, our teacher saying, my mind and your mind can join in shining your ego away and releasing the strength and beauty of God into everything you think, everything you're thinking, and everything you're doing, and everything you will right now. Okay, so great. So then at that point, I would close my eyes and say, higher mind, teacher, I join my mind to your mind in shining my ego away so that the beauty and the strength of God can be released into this situation right now that I am in, that I'm going through. Thank you. Okay. That's how we do it. Okay. Now, then, first of all, it tells you what you could do if you wanted to have your ego shined away and have the beauty and the strength of God released into this situation, turning it into what? A freaking miracle. Then it says, don't settle for anything less than this. Don't settle for anything less than this. I'm going to have to plug this in. I'm going to have to actually use this right here. Okay. All right. It says, don't settle for anything less than that. Okay. Any answer, any solution that you try besides what it just told you you could do is you settling. Okay. You say, don't settle. You don't have to settle. You don't have to settle for solutions that don't work and make the problem worse. So don't settle for anything less than going, teacher, higher mind, I draw my mind to your mind in shining this problem away and releasing the strength and the beauty of God into this situation, turning it into a miracle. Okay? That's the only thing that's going to work, and you shouldn't settle for anything else. You shouldn't settle for anything less, because you don't deserve anything less than that answer, that miraculous resolution to whatever you're suffering with right now. Wow. Isn't the Course in Miracles powerful? It's just one answer, resolution, solution after another. And you know they got to work, because they're not answers or solutions that we thought of. It's nothing that you heard of during the day today. It's nothing you came up with. It's nothing that your parents told you. That's how you know it probably will work. All right. I love it. Les says mind to mind. I like that. Mind to mind. God's mind, my mind. Don't settle for anything less. That's beautiful, Les. Beautiful. Hi, Irene. All right. So it says this, and it says, then it says, right, don't settle for anything less than that solution, and refuse to accept anything but that solution, that resolution as your goal. Okay. So it's reminding us, let the acceptance of that answer be your goal. Even if you can't accept it, let it be your goal. Okay. And you don't have to fully be able to accept that solution, resolution, if you can just let it be your goal. It's my goal to allow. It's my goal to have my mind join to higher mind, so that my ego can be shown away, releasing the strength and the beauty of God to this. That's my goal. Okay, I want to do that instead of all those other solution resolutions that never worked and made my problem deeper. All right. Okay, great. So it's just full of instructions. Okay, we're hearing answers, 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 answers. All right. Then it gives us another instruction here. And it says, watch your mind very carefully. Okay. For what? For any beliefs that hinder that resolution, that plan for your healing, for your peace. Watch your mind carefully for any beliefs that tell you that that won't work, that won't work. You know, like guilt, fear, anger, or, you know, the belief that, you know, something that you did in the past would work better than this. Watch your mind carefully for any beliefs that would hinder you deciding to join your mind to love's mind, shining the truth and the beauty of God into this situation. And when you find those beliefs that are hindering you doing this, it says, step away from them. Step away. Step away. Okay, isn't that interesting? It's telling you that when you find one of those beliefs that are hindering your ability to do what this is saying to do, then when you find, so first of all, it's like, watch your mind for those beliefs. Oh, that won't work, or I don't deserve peace, or that won't work for me because I'm really guilty, or I really messed up, or I'm really whatever. Maybe that'll work for other people. When you find those beliefs that hinder you doing what A Course in Miracles says that you could do, it says just step away from them. Wow, just step away from them. Well, good to know that you can do that. You mean I'm not the victim of the thoughts in my mind? You mean I'm not the victim of the beliefs in my mind that are telling me that I'm not good enough, that I'm not worthy, there's something wrong with me, I'm guilty? You mean I could just step away from those beliefs? I'm not the victim of those beliefs in my mind? I think that's what it's saying. It's saying you can just walk away. Wow, that's I'm good reminder that I can walk away from my own ego thoughts just like I can walk away from the ego thoughts of others as well. My guilt tells me, no, you can't just walk away from that. You know, your ego tells you you can't just walk away when you're in the presence of somebody else's ego thoughts, and your ego tells you you can't just walk away from your own. You can't just go, no, can't, no, that's ridiculous, goodbye. But it's reminding us that you can step away, walk away from those beliefs that tell you that there's some better answer that will work better than this. Okay, step away. Awesome. Then it says, I love it, Les says, whoever postulated that God's mind and my mind can ever be separated, yeah, they didn't know the truth. All right, beautiful. Okay, so here we go. It's telling us, remember, it's telling us there's no limit to the power of your mind. And then it's showing you how that's true. There is no limit to the power of your mind. You do not have to listen or follow or one more second the false beliefs of your ego. Not yours and not anybody else's. Why? Because there really is no limit to your power. You know, you can try to limit the expression of your power. You can tell yourself and believe, oh, I'm a victim of my beliefs. I'm a victim of their beliefs. Oh, my ego says it, so I have to believe it. Okay? That's just you trying to limit the expression of your power. But you will never, never, ever for real be the victim of your ego's belief system. Now, you can choose to listen to it. You can choose to engage with your ego. You can choose to believe it and then see it. But it will never, ever, ever have more power than your power to choose to disengage from it, to not listen to it, to step away from it, and to engage with the thoughts of God, the loving thoughts, the thoughts of your infinite innocence and your infinite power. Yes. Now, so it's telling you how you can just walk away from, disengage from your ego, just walk away and engage with God. Now, it says something about walking away, stepping away from your ego's beliefs. And it says you can judge how well you have stepped away or disengaged from your ego's mean beliefs. How? By your own feelings. You can judge how well you've stepped away from your ego's mean beliefs by how you feel. Why? Because judging how well you have stepped away or disengaged from your ego's mean beliefs, it says, judging how well you have done that by your feelings, that is the one right use of judgment. Okay? Oh yeah, there's a right use of judgment. Why? Because judgment, like any other defense, can be used to attack or protect, to hurt or to heal. Okay, great. So the right use of judgment, the use of judgment that is protective. There is a use for judgment that is helpful, that is protective, that is healing. Okay, good to know. The right use of judgment that is protective and healing is judging how well you have stepped away or disengaged from your ego's mean, cruel beliefs. Okay? So it told you how to disengage from your ego's beliefs. It told you could step away. And then it says now, how well did you do? Did you do it? Did you do it? Did you step away from your ego's, were you able to disengage from your ego's mean, loud, cruel beliefs about you that tell you have to do it the hard way because, you don't deserve to have it all. Did you do it? Well, you'll know if you did it by how you feel, by judging how you feel. Do you feel heartened? Do you feel glad? Do you feel love? Do you feel peace? Okay. If you feel those things, your judgment is correct in telling you that you did indeed step away. Okay. I love being reminded that I have the power to step away from my ego's beliefs. I don't, it's like that bumper sticker I once saw that I love. It says, "Don't believe everything you think." We're being reminded that just because you think those thoughts, or really just because your ego thinks those thoughts about you, doesn't mean you have to believe them at all. He's saying you could just step away, just disengage and go, that's the ego, that's not true, bye. Gee, what does the truth say? I'm going to engage with truth. Okay, that is how we experience healing, mind, body, and spirit. That's how we experience ourselves becoming powerful and coming into our own power. We are not the victim of our ego. We are not the victim of the mean, cruel, stupid, ignorant, limiting thoughts that our ego is always offering us. Okay? Beautiful. And it says this. It says, the truth about the ego is that the ego should be brought to judgment. I'm talking about the right use of judgment. And the ego should be brought to judgment. In other words, you should be judging your ego. If you're going to be judging anything, don't judge yourself. Judge only, how do I feel? Okay? And judge your ego. It says your ego should be brought. The ego should be brought to your own judgment. And once you bring your ego to judgment, which means like you're going to take your ego and go, let me look at what it's saying. Let me look at these mean thoughts my ego is feeding me. I'm going to look at them. Okay. I'm going to stop like running from them and being afraid of them and running from them, running. I'm going to stop and I'm going to look at them and I'm going to bring my ego to judgment. I'm going to look at it. And remember that your ego is a thought system. It's a collection of beliefs that you learn from the past. Now, it says when you really judge your ego correctly, you will come to the realization that it is wanting. It's wanting for love, it's wanting of truth, it's wanting of reality. You will see that the ego doesn't know anything. It's completely lacking in love. It's completely lacking in awareness of reality and truth. It's just a wanting thing. That's all the ego is. It's just a wanting thing. It wants this, it wants that, it wants this, it wants that, it wants this, it wants that. Why? Because it's nothing. It is nothing. It has nothing. It has no reality. It has no truth. It has no real being anyway. It's just a false belief. And so when you bring your ego to judgment, you will find that it is wanting. And that is the only thing that we should be doing with our ego, is bringing it to our own judgment so that we can see the truth about it, that it is wanting. It's lacking of anything good. I love it. And it says, and you will see that without your own allegiance, protection, and love, that your ego cannot exist. Wow. So when you bring your own ego to judgment, you're going to be like, this thing doesn't have anything real or good or lasting or loving at all. And you will see that once you're not allegiant to it, once you're not protecting it, once you're not worshiping it, once you're not loving your ego and protecting your ego, then you will see that it doesn't even exist. Oh my goodness. You mean all those unloving, mean, negative, fearful, guilty beliefs I have had about myself? When I really look at them and see that they are lacking any reality or any truth or any love at all, I'm also going to see that it doesn't even exist. It's not real. It's not real. That you're going to find that the ego doesn't even exist, meaning it's not real. It's an imagination. It's an illusion. It's something that seems to be real, but it's not at all. It's just a belief. It's just an illusion. It's just a hallucination. That's what you will find when you bring your ego and its thoughts and its beliefs to judgment, meaning look at them, and look at them from the perspective of this truth. Wow. Doesn't that sound awesome? Okay, great. So this is what we're going to be doing. We're talking about what we're going to be, what we're learning how to do relative to our ego. This is what you do while you're learning how to make that healthy habit of disengaging from your ego and creating a healthy habit of engaging with God and God's truth. Okay. Now, all right. So in other words, what it's saying is, if you will judge your ego truly, and you must, it says judge your ego truly, and you must withdraw allegiance, protection, and love for it. Deep. So it's saying if we weren't being allegiant and bowing down and listening to it and worshiping it, if we weren't protecting our egos, protecting it, if we weren't actually just loving our ego, then it would be gone. We would see that we were worshiping and being allegiant to something that was never even real and true. So, okay, so that is how the ego is shown away. Shined, shown away. Wow. Good to know. I love that. Okay, any questions or comments? How you guys doing? Ego, Les says, ego is one big want machine. No love there, no help, no healing, no truth. Wow. In the end, it even doesn't exist. That's exactly right. The ego is just a big thing of want and need, which means lack. Lack of existence, lack of reality, lack of love, lack of reality, lack of truth, lack of love, lack of power. It's just a big old lack of. So lack of. Exactly, just like Les said, it's a want machine. Okay, it has no substance, no real substance, and the only reason the ego seems so real and so powerful is because of our allegiance, protection, and love. So you could say that also about whatever ego thoughts you've got going on. Whatever ego thoughts like fear or guilt or depression or despair or anxiety or being disheartened. What you could say about those perceptions or those feelings or emotions is that without your allegiance, protection, and love, they would be gone. You would see that they were never true and that they have no power and they have no real existence at all. You could withdraw your protection, allegiance, and love from those ego beliefs, from those ego perceptions, and it would be as if those bad feelings, those bad emotions never even existed. You'll be like, what was I so upset about? Can't even remember. All right. Now we're going to go to paragraph 13. Are you ready? Okay, so he just gave us a great dissertation on the ego and how to bring your ego to judgment and see it correctly, that it might be gone. Okay? That you see it doesn't even exist. Then after that, now it's going to talk about you. It's going to talk about you to you. And what it's going to say about you is pretty amazing, okay? And it's the exact opposite of everything the ego wants us to believe about ourselves, okay? So get ready. Just know it's going to be opposite. It says, you are a mirror of truth in which God himself shines in perfect clarity. Whoo-wee, okay? That's what you are. A what? A mirror of truth. That's what you are, in which God shines in perfect clarity. In other words, you are a mirror that reflects light, the ultimate light of love and life with perfect clarity, meaning there's no dark smudges, there's no smoke on that mirror, there's no smudges of time and guilt and shame and sin on this mirror. There's no smudges of guilt and soot of any of your past mistakes. No dark, messy blotches that block the light coming in to this mirror that is you. That's what you are. Okay. Okay. And it says that's the truth about you. Now to the ego mirror, the ego's dark glass, you need but say, I will not look into that dark, sooty, smudgy, smoky mirror. I'm not going to look there in the ego's dark mirror. Okay. Ego is a mirror too. And what is in the ego mirror is dark. That's a dark mirror. Have you ever looked into a dark mirror? It's kind of spooky. It's kind of scary. Okay, you don't look real good when you're looking in the ego's dark, smudged, smoky mirror. What you see there is ugly and frightening. And so, but that's what the ego is. It's a dark mirror. That is saying that that all you need to say to the ego's dark mirror is, I'm not going to look there, because I know that these images that I see in the ego's dark mirror, they're not true. Wow. It says that's all you need to do. When you find yourself looking into the ego's dark mirror, okay, you know you're looking into the ego's dark glass, the dark mirror, when what you're seeing of yourself is ugly and frightening and guilty and shameful and sinful, and it fills you with fear and depression and despair. That's your clue that you are looking into the ego's mirror. The ego's holding up a mirror for you to see. Look at you. Look how guilty you are. Look what a sinner you are. Look how repulsive you are. Look how guilty you are. Look at that. Look at yourself. And then it's saying, all you are just, I'm not going to look there. It's like, what? I can just not look into the ego's dark glass? The ego wants to show me how ugly and sinful and guilty and bad and limited and how defective I am. And it's saying, again, you don't have to look there. And all you have to do is go, I'm not going to look there. I'm not going to look at what the ego is showing me right now, because I know what the ego is showing me, those images are not true. Again, he's reminding us again that you are not the victim of your ego. You are the powerful one in the seeming conflict. If the ego is showing you dark images of yourself that are tempting you to be depressed and anxious and afraid, the Course is reminding us that that's not you, that's the ego, and you don't have to listen. You don't have to look, you don't have to listen, and you can walk away. You can declare the truth. I will not look into the ego's dark glass, because I know what the ego is showing me right now is not true. These images of myself are not true. And then poof, gone. Now the ego has been shown away. How beautiful and powerful is that? So if you are experiencing any depression, pain, guilt, shame, fear right now, know that right now you're looking in the ego's dark mirror. Okay, you're a mirror of light, but the ego is a dark mirror, it's a smoky mirror. Okay. Just tell yourself, yeah, I know I'm looking in the ego's dark mirror right now because I am afraid, I feel guilty, I feel depressed, I feel anxious. Okay, that's what's happening, that's what's going on. You're not experiencing reality, you're not experiencing the truth of the matter, and you're not experiencing the truth about yourself. You're just looking in the ego's dark mirror and believing what you see. But there is no limit on the power of your mind to decide to step away and to not look there and to not believe those dark images which your ego is always trying to show you. That's what the ego is all about. It's a dark mirror, okay? You've got you, a mirror of light in which God and love shines in perfect clarity, no smoke, no smudges. And then you got the ego's mirror, which the ego is always showing you, okay? Now, isn't that beautiful? I love hearing that answer. I could just say, and so if you're in this situation where you're experiencing those, you're seeing those dark images of yourself that the ego is showing you, and you feel depressed and anxious and afraid and guilty, just say, I'm not going to look at those images. I'm not going to look there, because I know what my ego, whatever images my ego is showing me right now about me and my guilt and my sin and my brokenness or whatever, it's not true. Whatever images my ego is showing me about myself right now is not true, and I'm not going to look there. I'm going to look somewhere else. Like where? I'm going to look toward the light. I'm going to look toward the truth. And that is the power that I have. That is the unlimited power I have to choose which voice to listen to, which mirror to look into. And if I don't like what that image, that mirror is showing me, I have always the power to step away from those images, to walk away, to disengage myself from those thoughts, to not look at those images and look toward the light. Look toward the loving, beautiful, radiant truth that is being reflected in my own innocence, in my own guiltlessness. Okay, beautiful. Then, after you've said to those dark images the ego is trying to show you about yourself, then it gives you another instruction. Then let the Holy One, the loving one, shine on upon you in peace, knowing that this peace, this love, this shining on you, and only this must be. Okay? So you say no to the ego. I'm not going to listen to it. I'm going to disengage from it. I'm not going to believe the images the ego is trying to show me about myself, how guilty I am. And instead, I'm going to let the loving one, my loving source, shine on me. Loving truth, loving source, I give you permission to shine on me. It says, let it shine on you in peace. Love, shine on me in peace. Love, shine in me, shine in the mirror of me in peace. Show me the truth about myself. Show me the loving, peaceful truth about myself. Please, I allow you, I invite you, I ask you, and I let you. Please shine your loving light on me in peace, because I want to see the truth, because I want to be happy. And this is me taking the opportunity to gladden myself. You know, every upset, every pain, every upset is an opportunity to gladden yourself. Every upset, every problem is an opportunity to heal yourself, to let yourself be healed, to let yourself choose once again. It's an opportunity to gladden yourself with the truth, the loving, bright, brilliant truth about yourself. That, if you'll let it, will shine into the mirror that is you with perfect clarity. Love hearing that. And then it says, God's mind shone on you in your creation. And, as a matter of fact, that's how God brought your mind into being. Wow. God brought my mind into being by shining upon me. So I was brought into being. You were brought into being. We're all brought into being because God shone its light upon us. We were brought into being with the shining of God's light. Pretty cool. Oh, that's how I was created. I was shined into being. You are a light. You were shined into being. Wow. That's how you came about. Did you know that? That's your real origin story. Love it. God shone upon you. God shone upon your mind and brought you into being. And it says God's mind still shines on you. And God's mind must shine through you. Okay, so God's mind is still shining upon you. There's still the light of God. Now imagine what that light looks like. People who have experienced near-death experience, they'll tell you what that light looks like. That's a light like they've never seen on earth. It's the most beautiful, brilliant, radiant light that is brighter than the sun but doesn't burn your eyes. Okay? That kind of light, the light of God, is still shining on us all. And we can allow it to shine on us. And it's reminding us that that is shining on us, and that you will know that it's shining upon you as you let it shine through you. So, would you like for this light, the light of God, not only to shine on you because it already is, but would you like it to shine through you? Would you like to be one of those people that when people are around you, they go, oh my God, it's like the light of God shining through this person? Okay? How would you like to be seen like that? How would you like people to experience you like that? I would like people to experience me like that. Instead of people being like, oh, here comes Anna. Okay, all right, go away or run away. I want people to feel like the light and the love of God is shining through me. Okay? And it's saying that the light of God's got to shine through you. And all you got to do is clean the mirror that is your mind. Clean the mirror that is your mind so that God's light can shine through you. Because it's already shining on you. But it says you can prevent God from shining upon you. It says your ego cannot prevent God's mind from shining upon you. Okay, your ego can't do. But your ego can prevent you from letting God shine through you. Okay, so nothing can keep God's light from shining upon you. That's just what creation is. That's just what reality is. That's just what's going on all the time. The brilliant, powerful, healing, radiant, static light of God is always shining upon you. Okay, your ego can't stop that. But your ego can prevent it from shining through you. Okay, so just stop that. Oh, and we don't have to do that. We can just say, no, I'm going to disengage from my ego. I'm not going to listen to my ego. I'm going to step away from all the beliefs that hinder that. I'm going to not look into the ego's dark mirror and I'm going to say what the ego's showing me isn't true. That's the same thing as me deciding to allow the light, that brilliant, powerful light of God, to shine through me. Okay. Yes, that is what I want. Now imagine how happy the people in your life will be for you to come among them if the light of God is shining through you. And imagine what happens in your body and all the cells in your body when the light of God is shining through your body. Okay, when the light of God is shining through you, what do you think is going to happen to your body? Well, your body and your mind is going to work in perfect, beautiful, harmonious, healthy balance. Okay, so when the light of God is shining through you, it heals everything that it comes through. Okay, it's going to heal your mind, it's going to heal your body, it's going to heal your heart. That's how we heal the body. Okay, what's the body for? It's a communication device. It's a transmission device for what? For the light and the love of God to come through and into the darkened world to light it. Okay? That's the correct purpose of the body. That's the healing purpose of the body. It's also the healing purpose of your mind. We want the light of God to come through our mind and our body. Same thing. All right. So then How we doing time? Okay, awesome. How you guys doing? Les says, this little light of mine, I love it. I'm gonna let it shine. And then Jonah says, sign me up. I love it. And then Les says, I was shined into being by God's light, my real origin story. Beautiful. Jerry? Okay. Now I was going to say something very interesting about the first and second coming of Christ. Now, what is that? Well, it says the first coming of Christ is just another name for the creation, because Christ is you. And so the first coming of Christ was just the creation of you, because you are the Christ. Oh, I am? That's good to know. I didn't know I was the Christ. Okay, I thought I was Anna, right? No, you, says the Christ is you as you were created, as you were shown from the mind of God, as you were extended in shining light from the mind of God, okay? The you as you were created by God in the beginning, that's the Christ. So the Christ is God's creation as it was created, okay? That's what the Christ is. And that's us. It's not Jesus or Buddha or Krishna. It's who we are. It's the creation of God as we were created by God. That hasn't been tarnished. That hasn't turned into something else, like something dark and sinful and mortal and fallible and full of sin. So you, the real you, as you were created by God, that you still are to this moment, that is the Christ. And the first coming of Christ was your birth, your creation. That's you. Your birth, your creation, first coming of Christ. Now, what's the second coming of Christ? Second coming of Christ means nothing more than the end of the ego's rule over part of the minds of men. Wow. And what that means is the healing of the mind. Okay, so the second coming of Christ is when the ego no longer rules your mind. Right now, the ego rules a part of our mind, as evidenced by the craziness, the chaos in our own lives and also in our world, right? And so that is the second coming. So it's almost like, it's like you coming back to who you really are. And who I really am is a brilliant light that extends throughout eternity. I'm not an ego. I'm not my ego, and I'm not my ego's slave. I'm not the victim of my ego. I'm not what my ego made me. I'm not my body. And the awareness of that is the end of the ego's rule over part of my mind. And the end of the ego's rule in the part over part of the minds of men. So really there's going to be a time among mankind when the ego doesn't rule man's mind anymore. I love the thought of that. So the second coming is when the ego doesn't rule over the minds of men anymore. Doesn't that sound great? Can you imagine a world where the ego doesn't rule the mind of men? Wow, now there's something to think about. There's something to ask for. There's something to work toward. I want to be part of. I want to bring about all the sooner the time or the end of the ego's rule over part of the minds of mankind. Woo! Now there's the ultimate goal and purpose for one's life. There's the ultimate holy purpose for one's life, for one's mind, for one's body. Okay. And when the ego no longer rules over a part of the minds of men, that's the second coming of Christ. Okay, is when the slaves, when the slaves realize that they don't have to be slaves. When the slaves wake up and throw off their shackles and throw off their burdens, that is the second coming of Christ. And you, teacher of God, it's your purpose and your function to save mankind time so that the second coming of who you really are comes sooner. That's our function as teachers of God, is to save mankind time to that ultimate end of the ego's rule over the minds of men. Beautiful. That's what we're doing. And it don't matter what kind of flaws you have or mistakes you made, don't matter what your ego has told you, that is what you are here for. That is your holiest, highest purpose. And no matter what mistakes you've made in the past, that you can still do that. There is no limit on your power. There is no limit on your power to help the second coming. The end of the ego's rule over the minds of men comes sooner. There's no limit on your power to make that come sooner. So hallelujah. Okay. And it says, and by the way, that is the healing of the mind. When your ego is no longer ruling over the part of your mind, that's the healing of your mind. So if your mind needs healing, it's because your ego rules over a part of your mind. And that just means that your ego's telling you what you need to see and what things are and the truth about you, and you are engaging with it. You are saying, yes, I accept that, ego. Whatever you say, ego. Yes, I'm guilty. Yes, I should be ashamed. Yes, I should be afraid. Yes, I should be depressed. You're right. I'm just a body. You're right. I'm guilty. You're right. I'm limited. You're right. I'm a victim. Okay. That when you are no longer allowing your ego to rule your mind and you're disengaging, you're stepping away, you're watching carefully your mind for the misbeliefs and the temptations of your ego, and you're deciding not to look in the ego's dark mirror because you know what it's showing you ain't true. That's you deciding, because you have unlimited power of choice, to not let your ego rule your mind any longer. And that's your second coming. That's your resurrection. And it's also how that resurrection, that healing, comes into the world. It comes through you. It shines through you. Okay? That's why you are needed. That's why our teacher is saying here, look, I need you. The disheartened are useless to themselves and to me in helping mankind to throw off the rule of the ego. Okay? So never, ever, ever again believe that you don't have an important part. You are profoundly needed, that this might come about, that the second coming might come about, that all mankind throws off the shackles and the rule of the ego. That sounds amazing. All right. Renu says, I think you are definitely going to open our third eye. Awesome. Jonah says, infinite. Beautiful. All right. Now, it says, our teacher now is speaking still. Our teacher's been speaking to us directly in this whole section. Our teacher says, I was created with you, like you, in the first creation. Okay, great. So our teacher's like, I was created right beside you. We're equal. Don't forget, says our teacher. We are equal. I was created with you in the first creation. Okay? Our teacher is not higher. Our teacher is not better. Our teacher was created equally with us, alongside us in the first creation. And our teacher is saying to us, I am reminding you that I have called you to join with me in the second. Okay, that's what we were just saying. Our teacher's like, come on, I need you. Please join with me. I'm calling you to join me in the second coming of you, of reality, of your reality. I'm calling you to join with me, says our teacher. Did you know that your teacher is calling you to join with your teacher in the second coming, which means all of mankind throwing off the shackles and the rule of the ego? Okay, if you didn't know that, then now you do. You are being called. You have been being called. You are being called by your teacher. your higher mind to join your teacher in the bringing about of the second coming, in the ending of the rule over the minds of men. Okay? Now, there is no more important job than that. There is no higher function, no holier purpose than that. And you are being called. So don't ever, ever believe your ego anymore when your ego says you have no function here to fulfill. You don't have an important part to play. That's a lie. Okay? And what does it say to do? Watch it and step away from it. Say, I will not believe what you're showing me, ego, because I know it's not true. And then engage with truth. Now, our teacher's going to say something else to us. Our teacher says, if you will think over your life, like, oh, I'm now going to think over my life, you will see how carefully the preparations were made. Wow, what preparations? The preparations for you joining higher mind, your teacher, in the end of the ego's rule over the minds of men. So, in other words, if you'll look carefully over your life, you'll see how Spirit and how your teacher has been preparing you with this, and then preparing you with that, and then preparing you with this, and then preparing you like that, and then preparing you with this, so that you would join your teacher, the higher mind, in helping mankind to throw off the shackles of the ego. Wow. Very interesting experiment to do. Look over your mind carefully and see how your life how Spirit's been preparing you to do this all your life. Okay? Everything that has happened in your life was preparation for this. Everything. Even the yucky stuff. Even the stuff you're sure was an accident and it was bad. Everything has been in preparation for this moment, this time, you taking your part in the healing of mankind, you taking your part in mankind throwing off the shackles of the ego, mankind going, I'm not a victim of the ego, and walking away and walking to the light. Wow. And it says, and then our teacher says to us, I am in charge of the second coming. I'm in charge of that process, like I've already told you. And my judgment, which is used only for the second coming's protection, cannot be wrong because my judgment never attacks. So our teacher says, I'm in charge of that process. What process? The process where we take our part in mankind ending the rule of the ego over the minds of men. Remember, that's the second coming. Okay, and our teacher, higher mind, is in charge of that. So don't worry. It's not up to you to figure out how to do all that. So don't worry. It's not up to you to decide how even to take your part, much less how that whole plan where mankind throws off the shackles of the ego, that is not up to you. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about how you're going to take your part. Don't worry about what your part is, and don't matter about the whole plan. Don't worry about that. Our teacher's in charge of that. Okay. It says, but your perception, your judgments are so distorted that you believe that I was mistaken in choosing you for the second coming. Okay. So our teacher is saying, look, I'm in charge of that whole process. Don't worry about the details. You just worry about, I take my part. I'm willing. I'm ready to take my place among the heroes of the world. And then our teacher says, I'm in charge of that because my judgments are never wrong because they're always loving. They never attack. But your judgments are so distorted that you believe that your teacher was mistaken in choosing you. That is so true. There are some days when I am sure that my teacher made a mistake in picking me. Okay, I'm like, well, for sure you're mistaken. Obviously, you would look at all the mistakes I made today, how chaotic my experience is. I'm sure you regret picking me and choosing me and calling me. And he says that is just proof of how distorted your perception is. That's just how distorted your judgment is. that you think that just because of the mistakes you've made, that Spirit was wrong in choosing you, picking you, and calling you. Wow. Yep, you're right. My perception and judgment is that distorted. So our teacher says, well, I assure you that your mistaken judgment is a mistake of your own ego. I assure you that any perception that says that your teacher was mistaken in choosing you or calling you or needing you is a what? A mistake of your own ego. So if ever you hear that voice, just know that's a mistake of your ego. It will never be true that your teacher, that higher mind, was mistaken in calling you to take your part in the healing of the mind of man. So watch carefully for the temptation of your ego, which says, well, obviously they did not know you. They were mistaken in picking and choosing you. Now, it says don't mistake that mistake for humility. Don't think that that's humility. Oh, the higher mind was mistaken in choosing me and calling me to do this work, the healing of the mind of man. Spirit was obviously mistaken. That is not humility. It's just your ego trying to convince you that it is real and that your teacher is not. That's all that's going on. Your ego is trying to convince you that it is real and that your teacher who called you and who picked you and chose you is not real. That's what the ego is always trying to convince us of, that it is real, but our teacher who chose us for this second coming is not real. It's trying to tell you, it's trying to teach you it's real, your teacher is not. Okay, so just so you know what the ego's up to. Now, our teacher says something really beautiful and powerful. Our teacher says, I am no more real than you are. Are you real? Okay, that's how real your teacher is. No more real, no less real. Do you seem real to yourself? Would you say, if somebody said, are you real? You're going, of course I'm real. Look at me, here I am. Oh, that's exactly how real your teacher really is. What teacher? The one who's calling you to take your part and to join in the second coming where the ego's rule is ended over the minds of men. Okay, good to know, because we're very tempted to believe that teacher or higher mind is much more real than we are. And really we're equal. Our teacher is always trying to tell us, I'm the same as you. I was created with you in the beginning. We're the same. We're equal. I just happen to be a little further along in time. That's all. But our teacher is always teaching us our equality with our teacher, with the higher mind. Beautiful. It's hard for us to accept. It's hard for us to accept our equality with our teacher. That we are as real as our teacher, and we are as powerful as our teacher, and we are needed as our teacher. When our teacher calls us and says, I need your help. I need your help for the healing of mankind. It's hard for us to believe that our teacher knows what it's doing. Like, you sure you mean me? Like, are you sure about that? No, didn't you just see the mistakes I just made today? Do you know the past I had? Are you sure about that? We have trouble believing that our teacher wasn't mistaken in calling us, choosing us, picking us, needing us to help it in that overall healing of mankind, where eventually mankind throws off the rule of the ego. I love it. Beautiful. All right. So, how are we doing on time? All right. So I'll just finish this, and then we will do our integration meditation. This section is a really long, chock-filled section of beauty and power. All right. So our teacher's like, yes, I'm real, and just as real as you are, and I really am calling you, and I really do need you to take your part among the healers and saviors of the world, there is a plan that is going down. Of course, calls it the atonement. Then it calls it the second coming. And there really is a plan going down where mankind is being taught how to end the rule of the ego over our minds. And there is a real plan going on. And the teacher, our teacher, is the organizer of that plan. And that's our teacher's responsibility. Our teacher has no problem taking charge, being in control of that plan, okay? Not us. But we are needed for that. And so that's the challenge here. We're being called to take our part among it. And the hindrances to that is me believing that, whoever picked me and chose me for that is not, they may not know what they were doing. Like they might have been mistaken when they called me and chose me. I couldn't be needed for a plan that grand, for real. Come on. That's a mistake. He says that's false humility, and that's a mistake of our ego. So if ever you notice that belief, just know that's a mistake of your ego. And guess what? You get to step away. You get to say, I'm not going to look there because I know those images are not true. All right. Then it says, so our teacher is saying, that's a long sentence. Our teacher is saying, your ego is trying to convince you that it is real and I am not, says our teacher. Because, says our teacher, if I am real, then I am no more real than you are, says our teacher. That knowledge, says our teacher, and I assure you that that is knowledge, means that your real self has come into your mind and healed it. When you realize, oh, I'm no more real than my teacher, then that's how you know that knowledge has returned to your mind and healed your mind. That's how you know that the ego no longer rules your mind and that your mind has been healed. Wow, that's how you'll know that your mind has been healed. Because you'll be like, I am equal to my teacher. I am the same as my teacher.
I hear that saying that the ego is trying to convince you that it's real. Mm-hmm. And what is the ego but separation? Exactly. And inequality.
Right, inequality, right.
And so Christ, of course, by saying it's real, saying that inequality is not real.
Yes.
And unity, joining is not real.
Exactly. That's what the ego is trying to convince us of.
Right.
The ego's like, no, you're me. Okay, this is the ego speaking. You're not that love, that power, that unlimited power, that bright light that that is needed for the salvation of the world. That's not you. You are me. You're the ego. You're a limited, mortal, fallible, full of sin body. Is what the ego is trying to convince you of. And
it's like trying to convince you that it's the dark mirror reflecting again.
Exactly.
Separation, division.
Exactly. And also the ego is trying to convince you that, like you said, you're not equal. So the ego is always like, you ain't equal to teacher. You ain't equal to, you ain't equal to that person, that being. No, you're not. You are just, you are unequal. Okay. So, and now when that knowledge that you are equal to higher mind, equal to the teacher of the world, okay, when that knowledge, oh, I'm equal to Jesus, I'm equal to Buddha, I'm equal to Krishna, oh, what? I'm equal to Jesus, I'm equal to Holy Spirit, I'm equal to Buddha and Krishna and all those other high teachers, for real? When you accept that you are equal to the teachers, those what we call the higher teachers, then you'll know that knowledge has returned, has come into your mind and healed your mind. Okay? So your mind's not healed because you don't see yourself as equal to our teacher. Okay? That's the problem. You're believing the ego, and the ego says you ain't equal to them. Okay? You are lowly. You are just an ego body, you know. So that's the second coming of Christ, is where you realize that you're equal to your teacher. And because of that, you are needed for the second coming, which means you're needed for the healing of mankind, which is an experience where mankind throws off the shackles of the ego rule. Wow. Okay, that was so deep. I love it. Quanta says the course is the best for self-esteem. Absolutely. I say that all the time in my classes. How can you suffer from low self-esteem if you study A Course in Miracles and accept what it's saying? You cannot suffer from low self-esteem when you're like, I'm equal to Jesus, I'm equal to Krishna and Buddha, really? And I'm needed for the healing of all mankind? Wow. Okay, yeah. What happens to your low self-esteem and your self-doubt if you were to accept that? But you accepting that is the healing of your mind. Okay? And when your mind is healed, guess what your mind is going to experience? Gladness, joy, joy that doesn't end, joy that only increases, gladness. All right. That's what I want. Awesome. All right. And good to see you, Carolina. All right, so now we're going to do announcements and then the integration meditation, which I always end my sessions with. So just let me say thank you to all of you who have joined this healing circle. I love the feeling of joining minds with you beyond the body that we do when we join our minds on the truth. When we join our minds on the truth of our oneness and the truth of our power, we are joining for real. We are joining beyond the body. We are joining minds. And that is creation. So we're creating a healed earth. We're co-creating a healed mind and a healed body when we join beyond the body on these ideas. So there's nothing that feels better to me than that. So thank you for joining this and increasing its strength and power to draw all other darkened minds to the light that they are. Appreciate you. All right, so announcements are this. Announcements are, I am a holistic psychotherapist, and I have a psychotherapeutic niche where it's called Miracle Psychotherapeutics, and that is a part of my practice where it's psychotherapy for Course in Miracles students, people who could really use some support through while they're going through some kind of transition or some kind of challenge, and they'd like some support, but they want it from a Course in Miracles perspective. I know that's me. When I go for some therapy, I want it from somebody who knows this. And so I am available for that, either Skype or in person if you're in the Denver area, or phone, or to come see you. So just know that I'm available for that. And the best way to reach me and to schedule is to go to my website, annakujawa.com. And on one of those pages, you'll find my phone number. And when you find my phone number, text me. It's the best way to reach me always. Don't email me, don't call me, just text me. So, and then we can schedule a one-on-one. I also am a couples therapist too. So if you are in a couple and you would like some couples therapy from a Course in Miracles perspective, I'm available for that too, even over Skype. So that is it. Also, I do 2 live streams a week, Monday, Wednesdays from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and I live stream both of those. If you're in the Denver area, you can come to the Miracle Center, the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center, on Monday evenings from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And also my beloved Greg does a fantastic fantastic, powerful healing Facebook live stream class every Tuesday on Facebook from 7 to 8:30 p.m. and you can find that on my feed on Tuesdays. Awesome. So, and thank you, Les, for reminding us about the financial alternative, which is setting up a recurring love offering direct to my bank account. Thank you, Les, for that reminder, and thank you for your love offerings, Les and everyone. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate them. I profoundly appreciate them. It helps me to devote more time and energy to my ministry and help it extend as it's born to do. So thank you for that. Okay, now we're going to do the integration meditation where we take the ideas, close our minds, relax, sit back, breathe, feel the ideas and take them in at a deeper level. So I want you to close your eyes if you can. Don't close your eyes if you're driving. Close your eyes, take a breath. Whew, have some deep thoughts today. And first, I just want you to just feel what these ideas feel like in your mind, your heart, your body. And see what it feels like to be listening to these ideas in a circle of beings and souls and spirits who, like you, want to throw off the shackles of their egos, rule over their minds, that they might be free to be their beautiful, brilliant, radiant, unlimited, powerful, loving selves. You are being called, you have been called to help the minds of mankind throw off the shackles, the burden, the masks of the ego's rule. You are being called. You have been called. Your teacher is calling you now. Your teacher needs your willingness. Your teacher needs you to learn how to disengage from your ego's lies. Your teacher wants to help you learn how to step away, walk away, and just say no to the ego's lies, so that you can accept your own healing of your own mind, so that you can clean the mirror of your own mind, so that the light of God that always shines on you can also shine through you with more power, as you clean the mirror of your mind of all the ego's lies. The light that is shining upon you can shine through you with more clarity, more power, more consistently. You are not your ego. And I want you to say that to yourself a few times. I am not an ego. I am not my ego. The ego is not me. The ego is just something that I have allowed to rule over my mind for far too long now. It never was even real. I am not my ego. I was shown into creation. My Creator shined me into creation in the beginning. I am the light of God. I am the light of creation that was shown into being. And I want to allow the light that created me and the light I am to shine through me to all mankind, to everyone and everything. Allowing my mind to be healed, and my body to be healed, and my life to be healed, and my world to be healed. And just so we've got some practice with this, I want you to bring to your awareness a situation or a relationship right now in your life that is dark. It's got one of those negative emotions we were talking about: depression, despair, anxiety, guilt, grief, fear, anger, sickness, lack, whatever it is. I want you to bring that situation or relationship into your awareness. And I want you to look and see what your ego is showing you in its dark, smoky, smudgy mirror. Look to see what it's trying to convince you of. Look to see what it's reflecting to you in that dark, smoky, smudgy mirror. Look at the images, the dark images that is in the ego's dark glass, the ego's mirror. See what the ego is trying to convince you of. See what the ego is trying to show you about yourself. How you're nothing. How you're weak. How you're guilty. And how you should be ashamed. And how you're limited. And how you're gonna die. See those images. You're looking in a mirror. You're looking in your ego's dark glass. And as you look at them, I want you to say, I will not look there. I will not look in the ego's dark glass mirror, because I know that these images, these dark images, are not true. And then I want you to imagine yourself stepping away. Turn away from looking into the ego's dark mirror and walk toward the light, which is the love, the truth about you, and call upon your teacher and say, higher mind teacher, I join my mind to your mind in shining my ego away, that I might let the beauty and the strength of God be released into this situation here right now. Beautiful. And see that situation just filling with light. All that's in that situation, all that's in that relationship is just light. Just brilliant, beautiful, loving light. Woo! So beautiful, so bright, so gorgeous, glittering, radiant, warm. Higher mind, teacher in my mind, I join my mind to your mind in shining my ego away out of this situation, out of this relationship, thereby releasing the beauty and the strength of God into this situation, into this relationship now. Thank you. Beautiful. How does that feel inside of you? This is how you disengage with the ego. This is how you create a new habit of engaging with God and God's creation and God's truth. This is how you heal your mind and say yes to your teacher's call to join your teacher in the second coming. The second coming, which is the end of the ego's rule over part of the minds of men. What better purpose, what holier goal could you have for yourself? And you have it. Beautiful. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I love your comments. I appreciate your feedback. I appreciate your comments. And if you feel like this could be a helpful thing out more in the world, then share it on your news feed as well, so that more can hear this loving message about themselves. I appreciate you, and I will see you next time I see you. Thank you.